lost.
Right, I'm going to share my screen and so we're going to get going here. Good afternoon. My name is Palo Pierce. I'm one of the vice presidents at Eduporium here in Newton, Massachusetts. And with me, I have Tim Tomaso. And Tim is the robotic cookie monster. And the reason being I'm calling that is Tim joined another presentation we had, and he asked a great question, but we decided we need to kind of get even with Tim. So we
the robotic cookie monster.
Yeah, I was clearly, struggling there, Tim. Anyways,
I'm okay with that.
Tim, you can see that, correct?
Yes, I can. You are good.
Great. All right. So basically, today we're going to do a short webinar targeted at social emotional learning, and also at the same token, get a product update from Wonder Workshop. So we wanted to kind of, let me just make sure, kind of cover that today. And I'm pleased that Tim has joined us. Tim is one of the US marketing managers and someone we've worked with very, very closely. Wanted to give just a quick update as to what Eduporium does. And I guess what I'd like to position is that we're a one-stop for STEM educational technology for after-school programs, libraries, colleges, and other organizations, after-school organizations, et cetera. And we provide a wide variety of solutions from augmented reality, virtual reality, coding robots, coding drones, science kits, things for the maker space, including 3D printers and things like that. And one of our top partners is Wonder Workshop, which we're pleased has joined us today. One of our differentiators is that we provide guidance as you create a project. So if you have a vision of a project you're doing in your school or after school organization, library, please give us a call. We'll work with you, understand your vision, and put together the best solution. We do have an educational discount program for nonprofits and school organizations and after school organizations. And we also are a certified minority business enterprise, which we also care very much with. So what I'd like to just, before I move any further, one of the things we're going to do for those people who do participate today, we are pleased that Wonder Workshop has agreed to provide 3 raffles of the Wonder Workshop Teacher Success Pack. And during the presentation, Tim will go into some of the details on this, but it's a great way to kind of take a look at the different activities that Wonder Workshop has for your classroom and be able to track different things. And there's tons of training, and we love this environment as we kind of move forward. So please stay to the end of the webinar. We'll talk a little bit about the details with it. We plan to keep this to 45 to 50 minutes, and we are taping it so that if there's someone has to step off, we understand things do come up. Feel free to we'll send out a blog and an email to everybody. So with that, Tim, I'm going to hand it back to you. And I'll let you take it away. The robotic cookie monster.
Well, first and foremost, thank you. And what you guys don't mention when you're, talking about everything Eduporium does is just how nice the people are to work with. I mean, honestly, it goes a long way. It's fun to talk with people who smile, who laugh, who understand, who are, willing to have a conversation on the phone. And you guys are very good at that sort of thing. So on a personal level, you're awesome to work with. And I know that carries through to the schools. So yeah, big thumbs up. Thank you for all that you guys do for us.
Thank you, Tim. There's only a few products that I can demo. And Dash is one that I can demo.
There you go. So yeah, that speaks volumes right there, does it not? Okay, so here we go. Thank you. My name is Tim Tomaso. I am one of the managers at Wonder Workshop. I do a lot of things at Wonder Workshop. We all wear a lot of hats at Wonder Workshop. But one of the things I do get to do is work with all of our awesome partners and do things like this particular webinar to introduce you all to what it is we've been up to at headquarters. And I've entitled this one Learning Loss, Not with Wonder Workshop. So away we go. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. If you couldn't, I'd imagine I'd have heard about it by now. A little bit about the company itself. Wonder Workshop is headquartered in Silicon Valley out there in California. Right in Earthquake Central. We make robots. Dash, Dot, and Q are our robots. The apps and the curriculum that support them along with the accessories and the programs that we write for our web pages and things like that. That's what we do. The first and foremost, they are some of the safest robots on the market. That Kids Safe Plus COPA certified thing doesn't come easily. There's a lot of hoop jumping that goes through that, but the products are safe. When you put them in front of the students, they are basically ready to roll. They're not going to do anything out of the ordinary, and you can count on them. They're also extremely durable. We'll talk about that later. Why are you teaching robotics? We as a company believe this is pretty important. Most of you, if you're tuning in here, probably already understand this, but you just look at this word bank here and see all the keys, all the things that working with robots are going to bring to the table. The one that always catches my eye is obviously supposed to the coding right in the middle, but in the lower left-hand corner, engineering. A lot of people don't think of elementary school kids doing engineering. I see it on a regular basis. When the kids unleash our robots and start problem solving with them, that's engineering. They're going to fail. They're going to do it backwards and sideways, all kinds of ways wrong before they get it right. And it's pretty much what an engineer does day after day after day. So we love that kind of thing. Mathematical reasoning, perseverance, this is all built in when you're doing this kind of work. Most certainly our robots are going to bring that to the table.
Hey, Tim, just a quick point. I just want to make sure a question did come up. During
Sure.
your presentation, you're going to address both Dash and also if some of these things apply to Q too, correct?
I brought a Q robot along, and I don't know that he's in the presentation, but I can make sure. I'll put my little buddy right here, and yeah, we can augment to that just a little bit if somebody's on the line for that. I will lean towards that when I get a chance. So yes, I will. How's that?
Perfect. And then the other thing, just as a reminder to everybody, we are providing a copy of the presentation, which will be sent out with the recording. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you'll, give me a minute or two after we're done, I'll slip a couple of Q slides in there that I may have taken out for this particular presentation previously, but we'll get to that. That's not a problem. So how do we go about doing it? What we bring to the table are robots, first and foremost, the apps that run them, and our curriculum. The robots themselves are extremely high tech for what they bring to the table, extremely durable, and possibly most importantly, have a really long battery life. The battery life on a Dash robot or a Q robot is about 3 hours on a full charge. So if you're one of those instructors who has to do multiple classes during the day, a set of these robots will get you through multiple class periods, as opposed to some of our smaller little robots that are on the market that have shorter battery life. So we kind of lean on that. It's very useful. They're extremely durable. If you can watch my video, I can bang one around on the table here without much of an effort, not worry about breaking them. They're designed to take a bit of a beating. If you're going to teach coding to kindergartners with a robot on the floor, he's going to get dropped. He's going to run into the wall. He's going to run into other robots and get kicked. Dash is built to take a bit of a beating and come back for more. So the engineers are very proud of what they have built. Extremely durable, long battery life. That's what you're looking for in a robotics product that you're going to put in front of your elementary school students. So there's a lot of tech that goes into the robot. You can see that all here on the slide. There are, infrared receivers and transmitters. It has sensors on it. It can tell when something's in front of it, when it's behind it. It has speakers and microphones. The Dash robot and the Q robot are both designed to triangulate. They will find a voice in the room via triangulation and turn to the voice or move towards the voice. It's part of the sensor array that the robot has to allow you to do more with your coding. Call the robot to you or have the robot go in a different direction when you clap or make a specific sound, that kind of thing. Let's continue here. So this is a Dash robot, one you're probably all very familiar with. It does a lot of things that you would expect from a robot going to teach to code. It hears, it will make little noises. You can record your voice and play it back. That little feature is prominent in all of our robots, the ability to record voice and play it back. When you think about that at its most basic, that allows you to do pretty much any exercise using the robot as a solution. In other words, handing the students a worksheet that's has simple 1, 2, 3 word answers to it, and have the robot recite the answers at the appropriate time will not only get you answers to those questions for the worksheet, but is going to allow the kids to do some coding while they're answering those. And, something that they're programming into the robot, they just might remember a little bit longer than something that they write down on a worksheet. So, recording and playing back is a basic feature in all of our robots, and it's very useful for when you're teaching with it. You see a lot of the other features here and some of the accessories as well. There's a lot of things you can add to the robot to increase what it is that you're doing. On the far left-hand side, that's the bulldozer bar. Having an object in the middle of the room and having the students program the robot to go and bring the object back. It could be an upside down Solo cup. It could be a couple pieces of candy. It could be anything. And they have to go and get that little exercise is going to keep students busy for quite some time while they practice their coding and find the most efficient way to do it. So that's a Dash robot. This is a Dot robot. This is Dash's little partner, however you want to look at it. We use Dot a lot for doing things like conditionals and variables. If Dash sees Dot, have Dash blow Dot a kiss. If Dot sees Dash, have Dot say hello, that kind of thing. So we'll hook up both robots at that point and have them interact with one another on a level that makes it easier to teach some of those, difficult concepts is a stretch, but they're more complex concepts of teaching a variable and things like that. That's when we use both robots. Now I'm going to go out of my presentation for a minute, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, so you're gonna have to look at me for a second here, but I'm going to introduce Q because I can. This is a Q robot. He is designed for our older audience, middle school. We say 6th through the 8th grade. Q and Dash are identical in size, built basically the same frame and chassis runs them around. The difference between the Q robot and the Dash robot is obviously the style and the look to them. Q actually has sensors that go all the way around the robot, as opposed to Dash only has them in the front and the back. Q's buttons are designed a little bit differently, has a different feel to it, but most of what is different in Q is internal. He can do 4 commands for every 1 command that Dash can do. So he has a bigger brain, can do more complex functions. And when I show the apps a little bit later on, I'll try to remind myself to show you the Q app. Obviously the app being designed for a middle school audience is a little bit more complex. The vocabulary level goes up a little bit. The rigor in our lessons and things like that goes up a little bit. We make things a little bit trickier for the middle school audience with the advanced robot for obvious reasons. So that is a Q robot, or kind of a crash course on a Q robot. I'm going to go back to presenting here. Are we seeing my screen again? Yes or no?
Yep. We are.
Thank you. All right. I always worry about that. So what does it look like in action? What we recommend when we put these into play, first and foremost, you have to have a device to run the robots, okay? Our robots run on a lot of different devices, everything from a Kindle to an Android device, iPads, laptop computers, and with the right operating system. If you have control of your Bluetooth, 99 times out of 100, you will be able to connect to our robots. So you do need a device to run the robot. So, at least one person has to be present to put the code in and drive get the robot to move by pressing the play button. We also have other roles that students are going to play. Somebody needs to handle the robot himself. That person's basically on their hands and knees on the floor with the robot, putting them at the start line when it's time to start, turning them on and off, resetting obstacles, measuring distances. It's actually better if you're working in a small team when you're working your way through our curriculum. You'll just work more efficiently that way. It's more difficult to go from your device down to the floor with the robot, back to the device to change the code, and back to the floor for the robot. There's a lot going on there. When you're working in a team, that speeds that process. And then you've got 2 brains working on the same problem, which is obviously going to make it go a little bit more smoothly as well. And the kids are cooperating. They're working together when they're doing this sort of thing, and they're problem solving. So, picture your classroom in groups of 2 or 3. And that's how many robots we would recommend that you brought into your classroom. Typically around here, I'm in the Illinois area, the suburbs, classroom size is about 24, 25 kids. So I will be asking teachers to bring in at least 8 robots, if not more, to have a few backups or share with your neighboring classrooms. And then they have enough where the kids can work in small groups. You also need a little bit of room. Dash and Dot run around on the floor. and they need a little bit of space to do so. So, clearing the desks out or having an open area to work in, or, a big flat surface to work on is advisable and something you're going to want and the kids are going to need. And that's all part of the experience. Now you've got kids working their way through a maze or some sort of obstacle course, or you've created a racetrack around the furniture in the room. That's the kind of coding that you want the kids to do. And they're going to be doing that after they do some of our aligned lessons and work their way through some of our challenges that are built into our apps. It's not just drop it down and expect them to go through a maze. They got to learn how the thing works first, but that's what it looks like in action. So now we get into how we set this up and make it a little bit easier for, oh, look, the video's going to play. Okay, it's not going to play yet, right? Okay, good. I didn't have it. At one point I had it on auto and it started playing before I finished talking. So how we give the teachers a little bit of a leg up on the kids. I mean, if you're picturing your classroom right now and you're going to have 6 or 8 or possibly more teams operating at the same time, how are you supposed to keep track of what the kids are up to? How are you supposed to keep track of what the kids have accomplished and where they need to be next? It can prove a little daunting, especially when you've got a bunch of devices you got to keep track of in addition to your robots. So what we put together as a company, we call this Class Connect. Class Connect is a learning management system for our robots and for our apps that allows you to set up classrooms, put your students into a classroom where they can choose a profile when they log into our apps, and then all the work that they do in the app is tracked in your little learning management system that you can call up on your desktop. So I will play the little video. Let's see if it works. Still works. It's 40 seconds. And then we hit pause so it doesn't play again. And then we skip to the next slide. That's what we do. Okay, so now one of the benefits of having Class Connect, aside, this one plays automatically. One of the benefits of having Class Connect is that we provided a new tool to the folks who have Class Connect that was basically born during COVID. It was a way for the kids to be able to log in and basically do their coding exercises from home using a web page and a subscription that we provided to the teachers. They were able to basically do our lessons that they would normally be doing with a physical robot in a classroom using a virtual robot in something we call Dashis Neighborhood from home. Again, this was the idea that the kids were not in the building, the robots were. We put this out, during the epidemic, and it's taken off. Now it has been built into the subscription. It's a heck of a tool to be using, whether the kids are in the building or not, as a presentation tool, as a sandbox tool. I will show you a video because I like the video too. Hang on. You know what? The music's going to be ringing in my ears anyway, so we skip to the end. Sorry. All I wanted to do was click back on the screen. I wound up skipping through the video. I did see a message in the chat while I was waiting for the video to play, though, that asked how much of this is going to apply to Q. Q is a newer robot, runs on a completely different system than Dash and Dot do, and none of this has been designed for Q just yet. That is something we are looking at. Oh, it's a 2022, 2023 type of project, building out Q's little world and what we're going to do with that. Right now, Q does not exist in the virtual world. Q is still the physical robot being connected with the app from a device. And I will show that app a little bit later on as we move through all this. But to answer that question, Q does not have a virtual tool yet, and probably won't for at least the next school year, for sure. Okay, picking up where I left off. So what is brand new? This is something that has just been launched recently, and we'll make a big splash as we do our webinar in October, and all the things start coming out for back to the holidays and that kind of thing. But basically into the new year, this is what we're going to be pushing. These are the new math lessons that Wonder Workshop has added to the Class Connect subscriptions. The idea that you are going to use your robots, Dash specifically, to do math lessons. These are aligned for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. There are 60 of them that our curriculum team put together so far. I do have a video for this. I wasn't sure if I remember to do that. Yep, I got one going.
Integrate coding and robotics into the learning process in and out of the classroom with Class Connect and Dashis Neighborhood. Class Connect online dashboard enables teachers to track student progress easily, while students learn to code in Dashis Neighborhood and complete Blockly puzzles. Dashis Neighborhood uses the familiar Blockly app, where students can develop coding literacy with their own online Dash robot at their own pace. Students can work step by step in puzzles, create projects using the drag and drop programming language, and watch Dash follow their commands in real time. Teach coding by practicing and improving on standards-aligned math skills with the help of exciting tasks and an engaging storyline in math activities. Monitor assignments and students' work and create multiple classrooms for different classes. See exactly what code students create and which concepts are involved. The dashboard also helps to recommend which lessons to take next to encourage further learning. Create and share pre-built programs with your students with the Blockly app. Bring coding to life and reach every student with inspiring coding. Try it out for free right now at portal.makewonder.com.
There you go. So the new math activities, they're not easy. We had to sample and test some of them. Headquarters assigned a few of them to each of us, and I waited till the last minute to do it because I didn't think they were going to take very long, and they were more difficult than I had anticipated. There are a lot of pieces to them. So there are 60 lessons built in, but each one of them is broken up into smaller pieces that need to be worked their way through by the students. So they are challenging. They are going to practice the kids' math skills in addition to their coding skills. So this is something new that, again, is provided as part of the subscriptions that we're putting out there with Class Connect. This is all going to be built into Class Connect. You're simply clicking on a different portion of the screen, which in a moment we'll be able to show you.
Integrate.
There we go. Okay, so the big question we had here is, how does this apply to social and emotional learning? And we had this conversation, at headquarters, we had this conversation with them, how do our robots go about measuring the social and emotional well-being of a child? That's a difficult thing for anybody to measure, let alone a robot that the kids are programming. But what we like to tell folks is that, by introducing this type of program to your students, you're going to be introducing all the things that make school what school is supposed to be. The kids are going to work together. They're going to cooperate. They're going to collaborate. They're going to be successful while they do it. They're going to learn how to code, but it's we make it so that it's simple enough for a kindergartner to learn. And, the first and second graders, once they start to read, are going to excel through our program rather quickly and learn how to code rather quickly. So they show a lot of success. When they're successful, it's fun. And when it's fun for them, it's fun for the other groups, and everybody gets into it. And most teachers who work with our product know that it's going to be a loud day in the classroom when you're working with your kids and our robots. But that the kids are going to have smiles on their faces and they're going to enjoy themselves. And as far as social and emotional goes, a former instructor for 23 years. If the kids are having fun in the classroom, they just might learn something that day. If they are miserable and they're not in a good mood and whatever you're doing is completely turning them off, they're not learning anything that day. Social and emotional kind of goes out the window at that point. So what do they bring to the table? They bring to the table something that the kids are going to enjoy, they're going to learn with, and if properly utilized, not only will they learn how to code, but you can teach pretty much anything with these guys. You've got a math lesson. We've already approached that as a company, but math lessons are very common. If you think about measuring distances, angles, trajectories, all that kind of stuff that you're going to be doing with the robots, math lessons are inherent. It's natural to that they go right along with your coding lessons. But we have teachers who use these robots to give book reports, to do poetry lessons, to map the route to the fire exit with their younger students. The robot leads the way. All that kind of stuff is strengthening their coding skills, but most certainly teaching them the basics and the ins and outs and letting them have a little fun while they're in the building learning. So is it social and emotional learning? We don't put that in our catalog anywhere, but I dare say that if you put these guys in the classroom, your kids are going to enjoy themselves. And that tells me everything I need to know as an instructor, that if the kids are having fun, they're going to learn a lot quicker than they will if they're not. So, what did I write here? Throughout the entire production process, we are aim to spark creativity and inspire the kids to learn while they're doing their critical thinking skills. You'll see things that you don't normally see with the kids. It's a lot of fun. When I present with teachers, when I put it in front of the kids and let them start doing their thing, and then I step back with the teacher to watch for a little while, a lot of them will lean over to me and whisper, what are they doing? And I say, they're learning, they're having fun, leave them be and let them do their thing. And they are. They're going through the lessons, they're learning as they go along, they're sharing. Other groups are going across to another group and saying, hey, how did you get this one to work? And they're bouncing ideas off of each other and they're problem solving, and they're failing forward. They're not getting it right every single time. And they're not coming to you every single time going, I don't know what I did wrong. That doesn't happen when you're working with robots. They will sit in front of their device and figure it out as a group, as a team. So that's my socially emotional hook, and I will stick to it.
Hey,
yes.
Tim, I 100% agree with you on that. I think one of the things we think sometimes is a lot of people focus on the STEM and the coding skills and things like that Dash and Q and all that have. But I do think the collaboration, the teamwork aspect, the communications, leadership, and even the design, run, fail process, and then rework, I think it's a piece of social emotional learning. And also, I think it's interesting. I was thinking about Dot and Dash kind of talking there. It's kind of interesting the things you potentially could do and some of the things and teaching the kids how to work with others and stuff like that. So
it's a fantastic program to introduce, and I know a lot of you are faced with the idea that how am I going to put something in front of the kids that I know I can trust, that I know is going to work, that I know is not going to break, that I know is not going to fail me a year from now because the company goes out of business. We've been around since 2012. Our robots are some of the most durable ones on the market. We continue to write curriculum and add lessons to our library and our portfolio. We continue to expand what we're capable of doing online so we can reach more audiences. The company's not going anywhere. So a purchase with us and implementing a program with this particular product is going to pay dividends not only this year but in years to come. That is safe for you to assume. You got a reliable something at your fingertips here.
Hey, Jim, just one other quick question. Two things. One is, if I'm a teacher and I'm in, and I have two different teachers that handle two different kids, can they share a kid or student in Class Connect?
You can, there's certainly a way to do that if you wanted to set up the kids by numbers or by group names or by team names or something like that. What it doesn't give the individual students is, they can't both be logged in at the same time from different devices. So, they've got to be working as a group, as a unit together at the same time. One kid couldn't be at home on his computer while the other kid was on the device in the classroom. They're going to clash with that license, and it's not going to work the way you would think. So I've changed over my screen here. This is me as an instructor logging in to the Class Connect subscription. So I can show you guys the basic tools that we have developed and what we put in front of you. And I will touch on Q for a moment. Actually, let's do Q now, because if that person's still on. We're going to do that right now. So I'm going to show you the Q app just because it won't take me more than a couple minutes, but most of you are familiar with what Blockly brings to the table and the block coding app, and I'm going to show it in a minute. But here is the Q app, just so you guys can get a peek at it and see the difference that it brings. First and foremost, what you'll see is it's got a different look to it, a dark background. The color scheme's a little bit different. It just got a sleeker feel to it, is what I tell folks, more futuristic. When I look at a basic tool palette in the Q app, much more extensive. There's a lot more tools in each of the palette, and just the words that we use are bigger. Okay, the vocabulary level is definitely up a couple of notches when we're playing with Q. You'll notice the ability to do math within your app here, along with functions and variables. So like we said, Q's got a bigger brain. He can do a lot more complex functions. So we still have a challenge set built in here. But honestly, I can count the number of students, and I tell this joke every time, on my hands and feet that have actually completed every single one of these, because these are not easy. I myself have not finished every one of these, and I've been working for the company for years, okay? These particular challenges will challenge your kids at a pretty high level. Again, we recommend this program for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. The beauty of this program is what we do with it. Obviously, it does block coding. That is pretty simple for me to set up a simple little block coding exercise here, right? Just move, a turn, and a move. The beauty of this program is this little button in the upper right-hand corner that takes the block coding and turns it into JavaScript. The JavaScript is editable, so if I want to change the speed in this first function from 20 to 50 and flip back to the blocks, I will see that change here. So they are interchangeable. Okay. When I want to make changes, I can use my keyboard. More importantly, I can copy and paste in here. So that brings up a whole new realm of possibilities for changing your code. I can come in here, find code online, and simply paste it in here if I want to. We, as a company, view the 6th through the 8th grade as going from block coding to JavaScript. That's what the program and Q is all designed for. Q only uses one app, and it is this particular one. We call it the Q app, and it has, like all our apps, a set of challenges. It connects to the robots. It's got games and whatnot in it for the older kids. There's a lot to be explored in here, and not everybody has gone through it. So those of you who are curious about the Q app, we turn it up a couple notches, and our goal is to introduce them to JavaScript. Take a peek at the curriculum and go online and look around for a better example of that. I'm going to go
Tim,
back.
just a quick one before you leave here. Just a couple of quick questions. So you can go back and forth between JavaScript and Blockly, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just flipped this button right here, and I am now in JavaScript. And if I want to change that 45-degree angle to a 125 or something, I just change it here, and then it will pick that up on the block as we go along. So it's all interchangeable. This is the way that we introduce JavaScript for the first time to the kids as they move along, because otherwise it's kind of a hard concept to grasp, that suddenly all the blocks that we're moving around are now words, and that makes it tricky. And the words aren't always in English. They can be truncated words and abbreviations and a lot of, strange punctuation. So it's kind of a jump for the kids, but this little button up here makes it a lot easier. So that's what the Q program's all about.
One last question. Can you cut and paste things from this screen to some other document or whatever, or even?
That's a good question. I do believe I can. Let's see. I can copy that. Let me just jump into, where can I paste that without getting in trouble?
In the chat.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. We could do that. Chat. Let's see. Yep, sure did.
Okay.
There you go.
Cool.
So the ability to copy and paste, I mean, some of you, if you follow our stuff closely enough, have seen Q do some pretty complicated stuff with the marker kit and things like that, drawing skylines and characters and stuff like that. That's somebody else's code. Our engineers don't sit down and figure out how to draw the skyline with a robot. They took the code, they programmed it into the robot by copying and pasting it right into this frame. So that's a good question. And
last one, just because I'm just, what's your view as the kid's ability to pick up the JavaScript piece? I mean, I know there's a lot of difference, there's a lot of them are in the Blockly space, but we're trying to move that transition from Blockly to, block type coding to scripting.
It's not going to be easy. I'll be upfront with you. As an instructor, it's a jump. It's taking them out of a playful world and moving them into a more technical world. And some of them resist the change. Oh, I can't code unless I can move the blocks around. All right. But the day you show them the copy and paste, have something ready to go, that's bona fide code ready to go that the robot can do, some sort of dance routine or something. You can find stuff online, Google it, simple movement for a robot, and have it ready to copy and paste, put it in a document that they can get to. And when they see the power of being able to do that, that kind of leans them in. Now they can start looking for ideas of their own and how they want the robot to behave, and they can figure out how to do it. Then suddenly the world of text coding isn't so bad because you can get other resources. Block coding doesn't always offer that. So that's usually how my hook that I use with the kids when I do it. And it's been pretty reliable, but yeah, it's a hump you got to get over. It is. I'll be honest.
Good. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Flipping pages back to what a teacher sees when they log in as an instructor with a Class Connect subscription, which again is designed to support your robots and not Q necessarily just yet. When you get to this page, what you're going to see is you can sign on with Google, you can sign on with Clever. If you're a Clever school, we do have some steps to take to set you up, but we can have all your classes automatically populated and all that kind of fun stuff that Clever does. I'm just going to log in. I'm not a Clever person. Yeah. Okay, so this is the teacher dashboard. This is what a teacher sees when they first log into our system. There's a lot to explore here and more than I have time for everybody. What I really want to show you is maybe one of the math activities. Well, let's show you the dashboard. So activities dashboard. This is what it looks like when you put your students into the classroom. My students are on the left. Their progress is being tracked by check marks and exclamation marks along the right. A student gets an exclamation mark, it means something went wrong. So I can click on that particular cell, see the student's solution and how long it took them to work on it, and see the suggested solution right next to it. So I know what they didn't do, where they went wrong. I can even pull up more resources to share with the student if need be, which challenge cards I would focus in on from our box set. What they're doing as far as computational thinking skills go. I can even send the lesson home as a PDF to mom and dad if they truly got stuck and we needed to work on this extensively over the weekend or something. But I'm basically tracking my students as they work their way through the puzzles, and there are a lot of puzzles that need to be worked through. So there's a ton of curriculum in here, and depending on how frequently you meet with your students, you may or may not get through all of this. But driving school is pretty easy. You're just doing lessons on teaching the robot to move around. Dash the Snowman starts to introduce the head movement. Interrupting robot is where you get into the microphone and playback. And all this is introducing different tools while they learn sequences, while they learn loops, while they learn, all the different 6 building blocks of coding are being introduced as we go along, and while they're running the robots around on the floor. It does this for the dot puzzles as well, so you have a complete set tracking for both robots. Other than that, it is really basic, classroom management. If I manage my classroom, and I only have one classroom, it's a list of students and a color-coded icon for them and what they see in their profile. So I just use first name and last initial. I can add multiple students. I can take students out. I can share this classroom with another instructor. And I can even change the name of the classroom. All basic stuff that we can do. So that is what comes with a subscription. I can show you a math activity because that's kind of new. So let's see. Let's just look at user ordered pairs. I like this one before. We'll just look at it. So this is what one of the math activities would look like. You have to assign these to your students. They don't get to them automatically, but once you assign them, then they have to work their way through this. So you get a little story and you get some instructions, but what you'll also see is you get a little quiz along the way. Now, I was fortunate enough to get through this quiz, so you'll see some green check marks. I use the calculator, and I tell you that right now, but I worked my way through this particular one, but there are checkpoints along the way. There's an activity you're going to do with the robot, and then you're going to answer a question. And as you're doing this, working your way through it, the teacher is seeing your progress in the activities dashboard as you work your way through it. So I can view the progress that each of my students that I've assigned this to has worked their way through. Now, I haven't done this board. This is, there's 3 parts to this one, and I can see where the student has answered, where they haven't answered. So I can go to each individual student and pull up their assignment, or if they don't have it assigned, simply click it and assign it to them now. There you go. Now they got to do it. So those are the math activities. There's a bunch of them to pick and choose from. We tried to make it easy. You can narrow things down by grade level. I guess I got it on geometry. Let's try numbers and operations, see what comes out. There's a few more. And each one you can just take a peek at and then go to assign it. So that's what we had lately. I wanted to show you all of that stuff. And I showed you the Q app. That was kind of bonus.
Hey, Tim, one last thing. Hey, Tim,
yeah.
One question. And some of those lessons, they are aligned to different standards and things like that, as you said.
Everything we have published online is aligned. You can click on it and find it. I probably should have clicked on that. But yes, it'll go right to the standards, so you can copy and paste it if need be. Our scope and sequence is clickable on there. Everything's linked in there that you could possibly want to make sure that the curriculum is valid and aligned.
Great. And then I also love the fact that the ability to customize the kid's name. So from a privacy perspective and things like that, whether you're in a clever environment or not, the ability to customize that is great. Thank you.
If you've got a number of your students, if every kid's got a 5-digit code that they have to follow for everything, go ahead, put that in there. That makes it easier for the kids. It'll work with that as well. So I'm back on my slide presentation now, and we were talking about funding for this, and it's not something we as a company really worry about specifically, how folks are going about paying for the stuff that they need. But when you bring it up and you look at something like the ESSER funding, I just highlighted a couple sections here. Resources needed to conduct remote and hybrid learning. If you're going to teach coding remotely, I don't know that there's a lot of tools on the market that are doing what we're doing currently to teach remotely. This is unique in the space. It's very useful. It's incredibly robust. It really is. I mean, we've been trying to break it for weeks and months now, and we can't. So it works, and it gives the kids a lot to do, even if they're not in the building, whether you're assigning homework on weekends or, God forbid, we wind up back in some sort of lockdown, you will be able to address that using our product. After school and summer learning programs, do you want a tool to start an after school program that's going to be very popular? Yes, it will work for that magnificently. The biggest problem might be you might not have enough robots to go around. You might have to cap your number of participants in whatever club it is. The kids are definitely going to want to try some fun activities that may or may not be, aligned that particular day. You want to do some smash up derby, you want to do tug of war, you want to have some sort of bridge building exercise, that kind of stuff. Yes, these robots will work awesome for that kind of thing and will make for great after school programs. We even have a annual contest, a competition you can get into every year. If you're willing to go that far and put a team in, you can compete for prizes. And then tools needed to organize and plan for school closures. Again, I'm back to the hybrid learning and remote. If you are forced to close down again, at least you have some options to give the kids some curriculum in the coding arena when they are home with a proper subscription.
Hey, Tim, just to go back to that, I mean, we've seen some organizations, we've started to see some of them using learning loss, right? And that ESSER thing too, the fourth bullet down, and then just trying to track the progress of the kids, right, in regards, and the actual evidence is the kids themselves in regards to their improvement in certain areas. So we have seen that. In addition, we do see there are grants out there from different organizations across the country. I know right now we're working with AT&T Foundation, which is doing something on different groups. So there are local companies, nationwide organizations, national nonprofits, that you can go out on the internet and find that do fund various educational grants and things like that. But I would recommend right now, there is a ton of ESSER2 money. And, you know, this is part of the Americas and CARES Act. And I know school districts have it, and a lot of it is focused on, you know, some of the facilities, making sure their ventilation and stuff like that. But like in the city of Boston, we're aware that it's a $400 million number just for the school system. And so, you know, that goes for a lot of ventilation, but there is, you know, there is room in some of these other areas to kind of jumpstart the kids and after school programs and things like that. So I would encourage people to talk to their principals, assistant superintendents, superintendents, to see what they're doing with some of this money. So
absolutely, the state of Wisconsin is doing something very similar. They're leaning on the local banks, which is really interesting. Banks in Wisconsin have some sort of obligation to the state, to the cities, and they have to fork over X amount of dollars back into the education system in order to during times of crisis. It's unique and it doesn't happen all the time, but I thought it was kind of cool. So yeah, the point is there's a lot of funding out there that you may or may not have looked up just yet. So Google it, find it, it's out there, and there's plenty of it. And these tools will help take care of some of that. Like you said, it's not going to clean the air in the room, but so that is the end of the presentation. We will share this deck so that you guys have access to it. You'll have my contact information and all that kind of fun stuff should you need it. I will thank you all for your time and for spending a little bit of it with us. And thank you for doing what you're doing. If I'm assuming correctly, you're a teacher or somebody supporting teachers in a classroom or a school. Working with kids today is probably harder than ever. So thank you for what you do and what you're doing, and keep up the good work and be safe there.
Definitely. Tim, I wanted to see if there's any other last minute questions or anything else that's unanswered out there. So just to remind everybody, hit the chat button or the Q&A button if you have any other last minute questions and things like that. You know, we do believe that both of these products, you know, particularly Dash is a great product in the K through 5 space, and Q is excellent for the mid, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And
Q's curriculum is fun. It's project based. It's here's Q your robot. You've learned how to move them around. Now we want you to make them part of this particular story, or use them for a music video, or it's project based for the older kids to come back to the code and build on it until they have a presentation that they can stamp their name on. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think we, Eduporium, are a big proponent of project-based learning, but also the fact that we believe the soft skills, I think we've talked about it, the collaboration, the teamwork, the partnership, the design, people, not everybody's going to be a coder. We're not training kids to be coders. We're training them to be technologists, because the future is going to require these skills to design, to indicate what a problem is and look at what some of the potential solutions are. So that's
problem solving. That's what we're pushing. Problem solving. And when you walk up to a kid and you say, "Hey, you did it wrong," they just smile at you and go, "I know I did it wrong. I'll get it." And I think that's the beauty of it. It really encourages them to learn on their own, to fail forward, and it's a lot of fun. It really is. It's a good time the day you bring out the robots. The kids look forward to it.
Oh, they do. It's definitely, the faces get there. It's kind of like sailing. There's a lot of different ways to win the race, in regards to, it's not always a straight line. So any other last questions? I don't see anything out there. We want to be respectful of your time. So here's the deal. I want to thank Tim and his team. What I do want to do is bring up, just close out with the raffle. I do want to thank everybody for what you do. And here's the deal with the raffle. So let me just take hold of the screen. And so here's the deal. So what we're going to do is do you see that screen? Does that come up?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. So we talked about a raffle, which is 3 Wonder Workshop Teacher Success Packs. Tim, just take a quick minute and just tell us what a Teacher Success Pack is.
Okay. All the tools that I was showing you earlier, Class Connect, the dashboard, the math activities, all that is built into a subscription. This particular subscription is going to give one teacher and up to 35 students access to everything we showed you for the period of 1 year. That's what this is. And it's a pretty cool tool. If you got a classroom full of kids and some robots, it's awesome.
So exactly. So if you have some Dash robots, this is great for those people who may have purchased the robots and looking to try to keep moving it and moving the kids ahead. We think it's an excellent thing. And so with Wonder Workshop's cooperation, they have agreed to give away 3 of these teacher success packs. And here's the deal. All you have to do is send an email to Thad, THADD, at Eduporium, EDUPORIUM.com, and just tell us how you use the Class Connect software in your classroom, and include your name, title, school, address, email, and phone. And we will select 3 winners. And it's a reminder to everybody, we will be sending out in a day or two a copy of the slides. Also, any other resources that Tim may have identified during his presentation, this will all come out in a blog, but also in an email. And any other questions or anything and a copy of the recording, excuse me, so that everything will be in one place. And we'll send that out if you want to share it with some other, teacher or director or something like that. But with that, I want to thank you, Tim, for a great job. We've enjoyed chatting with you. Always a pleasure. Yes. Oh, someone asked a question. Let me make sure we're clear. Nonprofit after-school organizations, libraries, K through 12, educators, college educators. Yes, are all eligible for this email. And so it's email at Thad, THADD, at eduporium.com. And we do want to thank you guys for attending, guys and gals, for attending today. We understand you have a busy time. It's a very difficult time and challenging time. And we want to thank you for what you do. So with that, Tim, thank you. Thanks all the educators for coming today, and wish you a happy day. Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.